Next on deck with Tim Black.
We must stop calling Charlie anything other than a civil rights leader. We need to plant that stake deep. It is time that we point out that what he was doing was not politics. What he was doing was trying to stand up for people's civil rights, to show people how a civilization is not a civilization unless you can have a dialogue with people who are diametrically opposed to you, that don't believe any.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Charlie Kirk is on record stating that the 1964 Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
That's right. He said they never should have gave you civil rights.
The Civil Rights Act was a new founding where we decided to discard the U.S. Constitution and reconstitute the story, the mantra, the creed, and the vision of America. And you even see this in Republican circles as well. Well, they say, well, you know, the Civil Rights Act corrected a lot of the errors of the Constitution. No, it didn't. The Civil Rights Act was a completely new creation. Of course, it was well intended by some. We have acknowledged that many times. But the Civil Rights Act at its core was a new founding. It was the discard what happened prior. The Constitution says people have equal rights. Imagine just treating people equally. The Civil Rights Act does not treat people equally because the legal theory under the Civil Rights Act is disparate impact. And so therefore you can't arrest a bunch of criminals in D.C. because you might be disproportionately arresting black men, and that might be deemed as racist.
He said they never should have gave us civil rights. That they went too far giving us all those rights. That was a mistake. He said it several times in several different forums.
Do you support the Civil Rights Act?
In spirit, but not how it's written.
Why?
It's too broad and paved its way for the persecution. For example, they're using the Civil Rights Act to put men in locker rooms like Riley was in.
How? Which article?
Article 4 or 5, I think. I actually don't know specifically, but the Civil Rights Act is being used for by the trans movement right now as because they say that they are women, therefore they demand an accommodation of women's rights. Riley can riff on this. They're using the Civil Rights Act literally to have access into female locker rooms.
So what would you change about the Civil Rights Act?
I wouldn't make it as broad. I would make it much more crisp and concrete, and I wouldn't have it necessarily. I would also get rid of the disparate impact component of the Civil Rights Act.
It evolved into, well, it just went too far. There were certain elements of it that just went too far. That's right. The guy who didn't get as much as an associate's degree in anything related to civil rights or laws or governance or history or black studies, or anything related to that. Just because he was Charlie Kirk, he could make that statement. And not just make that statement to his podcast. He went in front of college people, college students, and went on campuses uttering it, saying it to millions of people across, counting all the video views, all that. He said it to a lot of people. You would think the people that are supporting Charlie Kirk since his demise didn't know he said that. And now we got Glenn Beck over here saying that guy who said we shouldn't have civil rights should be considered a civil rights leader. Before we go any further, let me let you know the Tim Black Wolfpack is dedicated, committed, 10 toes down to reporting the truth, unbiased, and not working for any political party. If that sounds good to you, go to jointimblack.com, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. For a very long time in America, white men particularly, were the only people in America that actually did have civil rights. We did not have civil rights. We were considered an object, a piece of livestock. A deer doesn't have rights, neither does a chair. And a chair doesn't own anything. A chair is owned. You think Charlie didn't know that was the history of America and how America treated Black Americans? For some reason, we got a bunch of mammies and a bunch of sellouts preaching this. Now, I ain't surprised Glenn Beck's over there saying it. I'm surprised he's not crying when he does it. Glenn Beck is the cryingest white man I've ever seen. He's got a pocket full of Kleenex. And a shoulder to cry on in his suitcase. Keeps it with him at all times because all he's ever done, he's built a career off crying and groveling and throwing a word of God in people's faces like he is somebody or something. It's pathetic, man. He really is, man. I can't believe he's still around. But yeah, he says that Charlie Kirk should be considered a civil rights leader. And he's pushing for that. He's pushing for Charlie to be, considered to be revered. Not because he was elected to an office, not because he changed anything, created some legislation, founded something, built something. He was funded by Republicans, billionaires, to the tune of $90 million a year. They've been giving him money since he started, since 2012. He's been getting money from Republicans. It's very partisan what's been happening. What would we say if somebody from the Democrats was getting money from Soros for the last 20 years? For the last 10 years, 13 years, whatever. What would we say about that person? How much crucifying would the Republicans be doing of anybody taking George Soros money for the past 12 years? And then it was, I don't know, Kamala Harris or Joe Biden talking about this person should be considered a civil rights leader. The Republicans are laughing our face, laughing in their face, laugh, laugh, laugh. But since it's Charlie Kirk, it's supposed to be overlooked.
Make no mistake, Charlie Kirk was a civil rights leader as much as Martin Luther King.
$90 million. It's not a grassroots effort. That's a political operation.
When you go to these college campuses, I love watching your TikTok, which is next level. And clearly, that's expressed by my 13-year-old son.
I want to meet this guy.
Yeah, I actually.
He's coming to a Turning Point event this summer, Tampa, Florida, Student Action Summit.
Funded by big donors, not by the people. People didn't fund Turning Point. The Koch brothers did, and the Bradley Foundation did. And a lot of people that you see coming out now want some of that funding money. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I get it. There's good people out there that they just feel bad about what they saw, and I understand that totally. But behind all of that, besides that, there's business at play. And believe me, the moment after that shot rang out, the wheels started turning in the heads of all these no-gooders, like Glenn Beck.
Do you think that there should be free school lunch for all children?
No.
Why?
Of course not. Because parents should feed their kids, not the government.
What if they can't?
Go get a job.
A child?
The parents should go get the job.
Yeah.
This is important.
I don't believe they have jobs and they can't support their children there because the minimum wage is so low.
No, you are a dumb dude. Don't give me this stuff. First of all, this is really.
I want children to eat.
Of course I do. Show me a single child in America going hungry. Doesn't exist. Number two, we have churches, we have food shelters, we have billions, and it does not exist. We have a child obesity problem, not a child starvation problem in this country.
That's the type of guy he was. The absolute worst.
Make no mistake, Charlie Kirk was a civil rights leader as much as Martin Luther King. I'm waiting to see the first city that will make a Charlie Kirk Boulevard. Phoenix, you should be the one. There's a Martin Luther King Boulevard. There should be a Charlie Kirk Boulevard.
How can we get the most mileage out of Charlie Kirk? That's what they were thinking. And that's what this is all about. If you fool yourself and lie to yourself about that, all I can ask is don't lie to anybody else. Keep your lying thoughts to yourself.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.